Canada's overall life expectancy.
Yes.
It might be the craziest statistic in the world right now.
A Canadian Forces soldier was found dead in Latvia. I accidentally just kind of exposed very expensive groceries in this country. Joe Rogan talks about how the life expectancy in Canada is literally on the decline. I mean, this is getting crazy. We almost have like 3.5 million immigrants coming to our country every year. It's getting bananas what's going on in Canada. So we're going to be talking about everything that I've mentioned, plus a little bit more in this video. So I do hope you stick around for the full thing. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video, everybody. Before we get into it, I do want to encourage you all to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't yet already. It does really help grow the channel. We got a lot of stuff to take a look at, but since it is Sunday and I'm now 4 weekends in a row of going back to church with my wife, both of us haven't been in about 20 years. And then now we're bringing our kids, and we've consistently gone for 4 weekends in a row. I do make this habit of talking about our experience at church for my first video that I'm making post church, which is right now. And it was phenomenal. It was really good. I'm still fighting the emotions though. Like when I'm hearing the songs, the hymns and all that stuff, the rock band playing, of all the music and stuff, I'm finding a little bit more connection with the words, which is, I think, a positive thing. But I'm also experiencing the like emotions of just, I don't know what it is. I'm not like thinking about those words throughout the week of what was said in those songs, but I go to listen to it and I just see everyone so happy, and I don't know why. But it's like, I don't want to say it makes me angry, but I'm like, what the heck are you so happy about? People got their hands in the air. People are singing. They're happy. And I'm going, oh my goodness. And then it makes me emotional. It triggers a response. And I'm fighting that response. I'm not letting myself be vulnerable. I'm like, no, you're not going to cry. You ain't that guy. No. Why am I so emotional? So anyways, I'm down to keep exploring that because it does make me feel, I don't want to sound cheesy, but it makes me feel like I'm doing the right thing by going into church and just participating, even though I might not have like the same connection that other people have with going to church. I still feel like it takes time. It's like building your body, right? You don't go to the gym once and be like, okay, I'm Arnold Schwarzenegger now, right? Like it takes time to build that connection. So it's something I'm exploring, and I'm excited to go next Sunday. So where I'm going with this is, if you haven't been to church, if you're thinking about it, if you're on the fence about it, I've seen some of the comments. People said they also haven't been in a very long time. I don't want you to go for me. I'm not going to suggest that you go, but what I am going to do is suggest that if you're thinking that it might be a benefit to you, then, well, of course, you should definitely explore those options. So without further ado, let's get into this video. I got back from church, and two of our kids, well, we got 2 kids. One of the kids, what am I doing? One of the kids goes down for a nap, and the other one, it's quiet time. And my wife says, one of us has to go get a couple items from the grocery store. Do you want to go? And I said, yeah, sure. Post church, why not? So I go to the grocery store, and she texts me the items, and I get everything on the item list, and it costs so much money. And I post about it on X, and it's like kind of going viral a little bit. So here's what I posted on X. So my wife sent me to the store for a quick shop. I left out right after church, but I'm telling you, this was right after church for these items. And it costs $77.09. Even without the Tylenol and Advil, it would still cost roughly $45 for milk, eggs, bread, cheese, and sponges. You can see how the average person in Canada would have a hard time keeping up with the bills if this measly grocery run was this expensive. I got a thing of milk. I got 18 eggs, Tylenol, Advil, some cheese, I thought it was white bread. It was sourdough bread, but still white sourdough bread, and then some sponges, and you can see the price there. Whereas when you compare this is a friend of mine who sent me these photos from Texas. This is how much they're paying in Texas for the same milk. $2.50, and instead of paying $11.99 for 18 eggs, they're paying $3.97. So even if you take into consideration the conversion fee of Canada to US dollars, it still doesn't even make any sense. So that's the state of Canada. I accidentally, I just got home and I was like, that was expensive. So I lay it out on the counter. I take a photo with the receipt and I posted it. And now people are like, yeah, no, Canada really sucks. So yeah, it's it sucks having to spend money at this caliber, because We sure as heck aren't making that much money. Now let's get into the real news, shall we? Edmonton-based Canadian Armed Forces member deployed in Latvia was found dead. I think he was missing for 5 days and then all of a sudden found dead. This is like a super tragic story, folks.
A Canadian Armed Forces member in Latvia reported missing earlier this week has been found dead.
You know, the warrant officer was part of an aviation battalion. I mean, that's probably just, they're shattered right now, but losing one of their loved ones and family, you know, it is a family of families. And so they're going to be really, sad about doing that. But at the same time, they're all professionals and the mission carries on.
The Department of National Defence and the Canadian Armed Forces say the body of Warrant Officer George Hole was found on Friday. In a statement, Canada's Chief of Defence Staff says Warrant Officer Hole will be remembered for his many years of dedicated service, and our hearts are with all who knew him during this time of great sorrow. He had been deployed to Latvia as part of Operation Reassurance and was reported missing on Tuesday. An investigation into Hole's death is ongoing, but officials say there's no indication of a threat to other deployed armed forces. Hole had been a member of the Canadian Armed Forces for almost 20 years and was a veteran of several missions. And the Prime Minister reacting to the news overnight on social media, pointing to his recent visit to the brigade last month. The Post goes on to say, on behalf of all Canadians, I offer my deepest condolences to Warrant Officer Hole's family, friends, and to all those who served with him.
Okay, there you go. I mean, it's still an ongoing investigation into the reasoning. This is super freaking bizarre, and obviously, my condolences to the family and all of those that were affected. Next up, we're taking a look at traffic cameras in Toronto are apparently being cut down continuously. Like the same one is being cut down, put back up, cut down, and put back up. Let's have a look.
Gone in 60 seconds. A video appears to show a man chopping down a speed camera in Toronto's West End back in May. A resident installed his own camera to catch vandals in the act. The speed camera has been vandalized 6 times in less than a year, each time the city putting it back up. This one camera has made more than $7 million in revenue for the city in fines, which makes it a big target. In another incident, this video, captured from a nearby apartment in April, shows a man calmly walking away, the camera cut from its pole again.
I think it's a fight against, government bureaucracy and like people getting taxed and getting tickets.
This year alone, Toronto officials say there have been 325 incidents of speed camera vandalism, ranging from spray-painted lenses to cameras being completely destroyed. And it's not just in Toronto. There are similar reports across the province. 3 years ago, Ontario gave municipalities the power to install automated speed enforcement cameras. Vehicle owners get a ticket in the mail. While some have taken out their frustrations on them, surveys and studies say the cameras have made roads safer.
It has reminded them to be cautious of their speed, and perhaps they didn't realize that they were speeding, but now they do, and they're going to be extra careful in that area.
Others say the cameras add to the cost of living.
My main motivation.
This city councillor in Belleville wants the cameras to be in school zones only.
Times are hard now anyway in our economy. And when you have a $150 fine coming out of their groceries that now does not exist.
Let me know down in the comments what you guys think about these speed cameras and speed traps and stuff like that. Do you think that this is good for society? Do you think that this is, another instance of government overreach, trying to be under surveillance 24/7, tying into the, digital ID and stuff like that? Let me know where you guys land on that one. Then we're going to take a look at some real damning statistics. It's quite horrendous. So here you go. You've got the website that is tracking the number of temporary work permits being issued in Canada. 3.1 million permits in 2024. So you can see here the graph is just going up and up and up, and 2024 is on the very right. Now, the next graph is the same one, but just a little bit more condensed, a little bit narrower. The Burj Khalifa, you could almost even argue like a CN Tower, like it just goes all the way up. So if we actually take a look at the numbers and what it is, at the bottom, the blue is a temporary foreign workers program. Then the green is the SP, the study permit, which can work for 24 hours per week. And then the red is IMP, International Mobility Program. And yes, in 2024, it did peak over 3.1 million. To the year prior was 2.7, then 1.9, then 1.3. So if we go back to even 2020, it was at 1.3. And now 4 or 5 years later, it's basically 3x or 4x almost. That's absolutely insane and kind of unsustainable. And I'd love to know what you guys think about this down in the comments. Or are you against this? Do you think that we should end immigration, put a pause on it, deport, stop the temporary foreign worker program? Let me know where you guys stand. And just the whole temporary foreign worker program on its own is extremely controversial, because you go back to 2014 where Justin Trudeau was criticizing Stephen Harper, and he literally said, I've showed it in previous videos, Justin Trudeau on X, on Twitter, said that the temporary foreign worker program is basically ruining Canadian jobs and wages. And then he obviously added more fuel to the fire when he became prime minister and increased our temporary foreign worker program permits. But then Pierre Poilievre is against it. And then in British Columbia, you've got David Eby, who's like an NDP radical guy who's wants to end the program, but then the BC Conservatives want to keep it going. It's just it's so weird and it's so unnecessarily controversial. We just don't have the infrastructure to support more foreigners coming in. We don't have enough housing. We don't have enough jobs. There's already all the jobs are being, not all the jobs, but a large portion of our jobs are being taken by foreigners. That's just not okay. It just really isn't. And don't worry, you're not a racist for saying it. It's an actual fact. And Justin Trudeau said it. So if anyone calls you racist, just say, I'm for once in my life agreeing with Justin Trudeau. Now we got to take a look here at what's going on with Joe Rogan, because Joe Rogan just talked on his podcast about the fact that the life expectancy in Canada is actually on the decline, which is bananas. We should be going up. We should be going into the 90s soon, right? Medicine and everything and technology is at peak, right? We're in the AI tech boom, right? Not a bubble, but a boom. And you'd think that we'd be able to live to 90 or 100 years old on average, but no, that's not the case in Canada. Let's have a look.
Canada's overall life expectancy.
Yes.
It might be the craziest statistic in the world right now. You've seen this, right?
Yes.
Since 1930, of course, it goes this way, this way, this way, this way, because you fucking live longer, because fuck technology and medicine. And then 2020 it levels, and then it starts to go down. It's down 2.5 years since 2020, which is unheard of.
Yeah.
Unprecedented. What could that possibly be from?
I don't know, Tony.
Weird.
So strange. It's not like there was a gigantic medical intervention that was forced upon the population during that time period.
Again and again, and booster and booster and booster.
And you're not allowed to say it, or you're a conspiracy theorist.
I guess
These people they're in a fucking trance, because being on the side of reality and facts is so against the narrative that the liberals were correct that they're willing to ignore excess deaths. That we're willing to ignore an increase in all-cause mortality. That's shocking.
Yeah,
they're willing to ignore it,
and they're the trust the science people, but only when it leans to their favor.
Yeah, it's crazy. You would think that in Canada, a first world country, that we would be thriving. We'd have cheap food, cheap housing, really good wages. People would be very happy here. People be living longer, but no, we're not. We're on a decline. Whatever the life expectancy was before 2020, it's come down since then. That is so sad, and that should be a big wake-up call to everybody. But again, I'd love to know your guys' thoughts and comments down below. Part of the problem, though, is a liberal government. I mean, how is it not part of the problem, right? They're the ones implementing all of the policies, are the ones that are controlling us, are the ones that are dictating how things go, and things are not going good. Let's take a look at Mark Carney's recent press conference.
From our perspective on climate competitiveness is to develop the competitiveness of our industries everywhere from the resource sector through to manufacturing, through to services, so that Canadian businesses can compete. We can grow foreign markets. We can grow jobs and sustainable jobs here in Canada. And in that regard, there's a series of measures that we're taking and will take, starts from the tax system and works its way out so that the investments in decarbonization are happening here in Canada. You will see some elements of that coming with the major projects when those announcements are made as well, but there'll be a more comprehensive approach for climate competitiveness as part of our global industrial competitiveness strategy, and you'll see that in the coming weeks.
So the most important thing right now, the biggest threat to Canada is now back to climate. It was a climate agenda with Justin Trudeau. Then it shifted to Trump earlier in 2025 because Trump won presidency, became president, and it was like tariffs, tariffs, tariffs. And it went from the biggest threat to Canadian democracy is Trump. And now it's shifting back to the weather, back to climate. And it's just crazy. It's crazy that they're still doubling down on this narrative because it's obviously not working. It's obviously not that important. China doesn't care. India doesn't care. It doesn't matter what Canada does to change the global climate. We literally contribute 1.5% of global emissions in the entire world. So I don't know what we would do even if we stopped everything in terms of our emissions. We're still only 1.5% of the equation. So that really doesn't make a dent in anything at all. But let's take a look now at the Liberals getting platformed by our propaganda media to discuss this narrative and reassure Canadians that it's not Trump that's the biggest threat. It's climate change. Super bizarre. Here we go.
You know, the auto sector is under extreme pressure. Obviously, that's what you're dealing with. But climate is also under extreme pressure. And I wonder what the move to review this policy says about the government's commitment to climate change.
Well, the Minister of the Environment, Julie DeBerson, is working on a new climate competitiveness strategy. We believe that it is for us in our interest, not only, of course, to fight climate change, which is obvious, but also to reap the benefits of an industrial strategy linked to being able to be in clean tech. You know, when you look at the companies that are worldwide leaders in clean tech, many of them are Canadians. Actually, we're in the top 100, and we want to build them even more. And that's why our climate policy, particularly our pricing, our industrial carbon pricing, is really, really important to make sure that these companies continue to be competitive. So we'll continue to do that while we want to become an energy superpower. You've heard us saying that. That's why major projects are important, and that's what we'll invest in different types of energies in the context of our C5 major project initiative.
Would that include, though, those projects could include, I suppose, a pipeline, something that may or may not contribute to our fight against climate change?
So we've said we would be supporting. Conventional energy and also.
So these people, Melanie Joly and all the radical liberal MPs that are still working for Mark Carney, were against pipelines. They were against oil and gas with Justin Trudeau as you know, closely back as 6 months ago. So what's happened since then to now, I can't really tell you, other than, you know, they've brought in the fixer, the closer, Mark Carney, who's switching a few things up and taking conservative, you know, talking points and somewhat implementing them. But still, it's bizarre how Liberals are literally the best liars. And that's how they still keep power, is they just lie and they lie and they lie.
Obviously renewable energy. Our goal is still the same. We have to be net zero by 2050. And we are seeing that, of course.
So even though the government, like Mark Carney just the other day said, okay, so the 2026 EV mandates of, you know, we have to sell as little as 20% of our cars in 2026 have to be EV. And Mark Carney just recently, took that back, walked that back. So remove that mandate. The government still is zero emission target by 2050. That's bizarre. That means the cars that you drive now will cease to exist in 25 years.
Of course, environmental impacts of climate change are being felt. So this is still very top of mind, but we're just being pragmatic. We are dealing with real economic pressures. So that's why this plan is really to deal with our clear, dealing with now what we're doing and thinking ahead and really, putting down the foundations for Canada's long-term prosperity by making sure we can build in Canada through our steel. So maybe our ports, maybe our rail, including, a speed rail between Windsor and Quebec City. And making sure that we can build more homes through Canada Homes, which will be the new agency we'll be creating with lumber from Canada, with steel also from Canada. So this is what we need to do.
Oh my goodness. These people are going to literally squeeze us dry for the next 25 years. So you, your kids, your grandkids will not be having anything to do with oil and gas by the year 2050. Is that the goal? Zero emissions? Oh my goodness. So that explains the screenshot that I showed at the beginning of the video where my grocery tab was this, right? $77. That explains, I don't know how, but apparently to liberals, that's okay. Liberals think that this is okay. We should be spending that much on groceries because this is Canada and you're resilient, right? You can afford it mentally, physically, financially. You can do it because that's what we do as Canadians. We suffer and we suffer together. Oh my goodness. Quite literally liberal quotes. Oh my fucking goodness, man. It's so unbelievable. Hope you liked the video. Don't take your anger out on me, please. It'd be awesome if you guys reverse that anger and smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, turn the bell notification on so you don't miss a single update, and I'll see you all in another one. Bye for now. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.